If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? Welcome back to your favorite boxing news channel, Dr. Boxing Talk, and we are back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, man. I know what time it is. The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. But before we check it out, go ahead and smack that like button if you're really part of the Boxing Talk family. And if you forgot, don't worry. We'll take a second and we can do it together. You see how easy it is to smack that like button? Just like that, man. Let's get to the main topic of today's discussion, man. And that is the 130-pound division, particularly the WBO sanctioned body, with the Mexican champion Emmanuel Navarrete and his first fight with his mandatory challenger, Filipino contender CHARLY SUAREZ, man. And unless you've been living under a rock, that fight ended very controversially, right? And I told you when that fight happened, you go check that video out, shout out to y'all. I mean, y'all turned me up on that video. That video went crazy. I predicted that this would happen. I predicted that this result would be turned into a no contest because of the controversial decision that the official made, right? And, human error is involved with officiating. So I'm not going to say that it was intentional, but it does look a little shaky and a little suspicious that a lot of times when these calls are missed, the beneficiary is usually the A side of the company guy or the champion. And that's exactly what transpired here, right? And CHARLY SUAREZ taking an L like this, I think that was a bad way to have your first loss. You know what I'm saying? That's not good. So they rectified the issue upon further review once they went back and assessed the situation. And they saw what we all saw, right? The cut that happened, it occurred because of a punch, and initially the referee thought it was from a headbutt, and that's cool because they had a couple head clashes prior to, so I don't think it was intentional. However, it's good that they got it right this time. Upon further review, they saw that the punch was inflicted, or the cut was inflicted from a punch and not a headbutt. And just in case you don't know, the fight was stopped going into the 8th round, and if it was going to be stopped from a punch as opposed to a headbutt, then that punch would have been seen as damage inflicted by CHARLY SUAREZ, rightfully so, and he would have been the victor, so that's why it's a big deal, right? And now it is a no contest. I will say this, it's not the right thing that should have happened, but it's about as fair as you're going to get in boxing, right? Because the right thing,
Doctor,
come on, what?
Always do the right thing.
if it was going to do the right thing, it would have called CHARLY SUAREZ the new champion right now. He should be the victor because it was caused by a punch and the fight was definitively stopped. And that stoppage came from a punch from CHARLY SUAREZ and not a headbutt from CHARLY SUAREZ. So he should be the champion right now. However, we've seen these stuff in boxing before. We've seen these things happen in boxing before. Once these things transpire, it's rare that it's going to get a whole new victor and a new loser, as opposed, what they'll usually do is what they did here. They just made the fight a no contest, essentially saying that it didn't exist. Now, there was another controversial fight involving Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, where another blunder happened, where the beneficiary of that mistake from the official actually benefited the champion, the A side of the company guy, Gervonta Tank Davis, right? And so no difference in here because Emmanuel Navarrete was a beneficiary. However, I will say the difference is here, and this is why I'm gonna point out to you why that was they kept the result as a draw and didn't turn into a no contest, because that ruling or that fight wasn't definitive, right? As far as that mistake didn't have a definitive result. When the referee missed that call, referee Steve Willis, when he missed the knee, he should have deducted the appropriate points. But even with those points deductions, it would have counted as a knockdown. You don't know how Gervonta Tank Davis would have reacted. Maybe he would have came out with a little more intensity, a little bit more fervor, and he would have got the knockout of Lamont Roach. Or maybe he would have attacked with more urgency and been a little reckless and got knocked out by Lamont Roach. You see what I'm saying? So that fight went to the decision, and the official ruling was a draw. So we could try to act like we know that if that knockdown was called, Lamont Roach would have won, but we don't know that because the fight didn't end there. You see what I'm saying? The fight still went on for some rounds, and you don't know how each fighter would have responded if that was called a knockdown. That's the big difference. And now with CHARLY SUAREZ and Emmanuel Navarrete, the foul that took place, or what they thought was a foul, that caused the fight to stop right there. And because the fight stopped right there, and as a result, we got the wrong victor, because they called Emmanuel Navarrete to win because they thought it was from a headbutt and went to the scorecards. Instead, if they would have called the punch the correct, they would have made the correct call and assessed the situation appropriately, then CHARLY SUAREZ would have got the victory because the fight ended there, and it would have ended because of a punch. Instead, it ended because of a headbutt, and Emmanuel Navarrete won. You see what I'm saying? So there's nothing to guess how it would have went because it didn't go further than that. The fight ended right there. So that's why they overturned the victory, because they knew that the official call that ended the fight was actually the wrong one. Now Gervonta Tank Davis, you know, contrarily, the call, they went back and reviewed it and they saw that the call was missed, but the fight kept going after that. So that's why that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? They kept the ruling, you know, but they did order a immediate rematch. And that's exactly what we have here with Charlie Suarez and Emmanuel Navarrete. While they did not change the decision to another victor, they called it a no contest. And the WBO president, Gustavo Oliveira, who's head of the WBO, he is enforcing an immediate rematch. And also Top Rank, the promoter which promotes Emmanuel Navarrete, the champion, and put on this event, right? Carl Moretti, the VP of Top Rank, he actually said that they're pursuing an immediate rematch as well. So that's good news. You know, it's kind of bittersweet. You know, the sweet part is that Charlie Suarez gets his O back, but he doesn't get the victory that was kind of robbed from him, and that's the bitter part. But at least he gets the opportunity to set things straight. So we'll see how it goes, right? And similarly, another thing happened with Oshiki Foster, Hapsa Kasesa. The decision wasn't overturned. It was not a no contest, but they saw that it was some little shaky business going on, and they ordered an immediate rematch. And Oshaki Foster, while he still has that blemish on his record, he got to rectify the issue, and he avenged that loss. Now Charlie Suarez gets to avenge that no contest, which was initially a loss. So we'll see how it goes, man. I told you this will happen, and you know, I ended up being right, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Do you think they should have just outright gave Charlie Suarez the victory and then still order a rematch, or do you think that Charlie Suarez should just get the victory, get to sail off of the sunset, and never hear from Emmanuel Navarrete again?
Ran off on the floor twice. He started calling, I ain't calling back.
What I think is that I think the right thing would be to deem Charlie Suarez as a victor. I already said that in the first video when I addressed the situation, but we can't go back in the past, right? So I think that this is the next best thing that could happen, and it's a pretty good alternative. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Suarez gets the rematch, he gets another crack at it, and then he gets to see if he could come out victorious, you know. But it's yet to be seen if he could put on another brave performance like he did the first time, because they were both going at it, man. So shout out to Navarrete, shout out to Suarez. I'm glad that we get to see it again, and hopefully this time we'll have a definitive victor, and it won't be any controversy associated with it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Do you think this is good enough, or would you like something else? Drop it in the comments. Don't forget to smack that like button, but most importantly, remember, with God we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.